Hello and welcome to Perth City Talks. I'm Nadia Hunter and today we are here for the WA State of Innovation Summit on Manufacturing to find out whether Perth will be leading the nation in manufacturing, automation and 3D printing.
Welcome to our another installment of WA State of Innovation Summit. We promoting with federal government, so Linda knows about it. We actually promoting the idea of Australia becoming #1 country in innovation in 15 years. We really believe that this is doable. And as I said, Bloomberg actually threw the spanner in our plans because we had really nice plan and they actually had to just publish now. So this productivity is surprisingly the #2. High tech, okay? Then you get education and you have research. That's different than the first one because the first R&D, it's actually money. That's money spent. The last one is people. Okay, so that's what's different about it. So overall, that's where we are. But if you notice, it's not huge difference between 20th, for example, and going to number 10. Look at this. Look at this room. Like people, so many people together, and there's groups like that meeting all the time. So much intellect and so much knowledge and all it is just actually for us working in the same direction. And if people do that, it's not a joke. It's really not that difficult to do, especially with the help of politicians and public servants. It's if everybody goes in the same direction, it's really not unreasonable thing. So next 5 years from 13 to 5, and then final 5 years from 5 to 1. So that's the plan. So basically, at least that's what we trying to government to actually adopt the plan. So again, that's actually, that is possible. And very quickly, just to show you, look, we actually leading the world in different areas as well. So we're really a lucky country. Okay, so this is, those of you who don't see on the panel, this is the Index of Economic Freedom. And there is 5 countries in the world, Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, and Switzerland, that actually leading the world. Okay, and the criteria you can see on the bottom, freedom from corruption, financial freedom, property rights, etc. So we really, and this one actually, again, some of you seen it on our previous presentation, but Peter Klinken sent me that Global Index of Creativity. This is something we can be incredibly proud of because look at this, Australia, #1 country actually in creativity. We, sitting here, you guys are the most creative people in the world. Did you know that? No. No, so with the most creative people, and look at this one, most talented as well. This is absolutely incredible.
And Peter, do you think in Australia, in particular Western Australia, do we have the political framework to support innovation and to indeed become a state of innovation?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, in what we do, the benefit of that is that actually we deal with a lot of politicians, public servants, and I'm a strong supporter actually. It's very supportive of it. Okay, it's as I mentioned, people are willing to learn about innovation, to support innovation. One example I can mention to you that we're doing in August, we're doing safari. It's called Innovation Safari, which we're actually taking state and federal politicians in the bus, and we showcasing areas of innovation in Perth. Okay, so that should be quite interesting. And yeah, we had a lot of people interested in that, so that's a big compliment to them as well. It's quite prosaic, when it started. It actually, the first one, very first in the history, actually started as a business meeting. We actually, with Adam, we were thinking about starting a business in the smart grid area. And so we thought instead of running around the town and trying to find out who is who, so we created a meeting and invited everybody that was at ECU, at Edith Cowan University. And it turned out to be really good. Out of that, we decided, no, we're not going to do the business, but then find out that people were asking us, oh, when is the next meeting? It was really good, really enjoy it. And yeah, so we just organized next one, and then it just took over, basically.
bought into North Star Cruises in 2003, and then my partner and I came up with a design for the new 50 metre True North, which boasts a draft of only 2.2 metres and gets us into some pretty amazing spots. So North Star facts are we own a 50 metre vessel that carries 36 guests with an EC-130 helicopter on board full time. We've got 6 6-metre tenders, now a 30-year-old business. We're the most awarded cruise company in Australia, and True North was built by Image in 2005. Now I just want to touch on the actual Australia as a destination, which is what Linda was talking about. We've recently been to the New York Yacht Club and showed them all what we do, and the fact that we can cruise the Kimberley and go 1,000 nautical mile and not see another boat or another soul. And they said, wow, that is a really safe destination. And yes, that is what we should be promoting.
The future is White Rabbit Golf, and this is what the super yacht that we're about to start is going to look like. It's the one in the foreground. It's an 83 metre yacht. The one in the background is a 60 metre super yacht called White Rabbit Echo, owned by our client and our boss. This will be the largest super yacht ever built in Australia. The first ever diesel electric super yacht built in Australia. The largest trimaran super yacht ever built in the world. This was meant to happen. If you're part of this team, you're part of it because you've been hand-picked, because you're good at what you do and you're passionate. In my mind, the experiences that we've all gathered over the last 30 years is what's going to pave the way for the success of these builds, no doubt. Thank you. We are the last bastion of the super yacht industry, and we need to impart this knowledge down the line to the apprentices and the new team coming up through the ranks. Train the new crew that are coming up so that we can keep this industry going.
All of these opportunities will employ hundreds of people, and possibly in the thousands, depending on how many we can get over the line. So what has made these businesses succeed over time? Exemplary customer service, innovative in itself these days, thinking outside the box and bringing back experience from retired and with GRP techniques, a cooperative and supportive management style, offering the highest possible quality across the board of all the businesses in both service and facilities, and pushing engineering boundaries.
We're all here today because we share a very West Australian spirit of innovation, and we want to see our state and our nation transform into the 21st century economy. Now, we know the disruption and speed of change in innovation, local and international industries, and the global economy itself has never been greater. We are incredibly well placed nationally and now here in Western Australia to take advantage of the opportunities, the Internet of Everything, and our rapidly growing economy. But scratch the surface, and I think we should all be very concerned about where our country is actually placed in this new world. I just want to run through a few statistics with you that should start sending alarm bells ringing in all of us. The first is that despite over doubling our expenditure on education over the last decade, our relative educational standards are falling, and they're actually falling quite quickly. And as everybody here knows, the jobs of the future and the jobs of, increasingly today, 75% of the jobs of the future will be STEM jobs. In Singapore, now over nearly 50% of their graduates are STEM graduates out of university. 46% and rising out of China are STEM graduates. Here in Australia, what do you think the figure is? Up there? Yep, 16% and falling. Just think about the implications of that. What are we doing to our next generation? And how are we setting them up for their world? But also we're living beyond our means, where as a nation, federally alone, we're borrowing $100 million a day just to pay the bills. That means that as taxpayers we're paying over $1 billion worth of interest every single month, and we're on track for the end of this year to have an accumulated national debt, i.e. taxpayer debt, of over $400 billion. And it just astonishes me that not more Australians are actually, worried about the fact that not only are we just borrowing to pay for infrastructure, but we're borrowing because we're not raising enough money from other sources to actually pay our bills. So my role as the Senator for Western Australia is to work with you all and state and federal governments to implement change and to raise awareness of just what we can do here in Western Australia.
Can you tell me a little bit about your involvement today for the summit?
As a Senator for Western Australia, I have a huge passion for innovation and also to see how we can implement it together here in Western Australia. So this summit is one of a series of summits and meetings that we're having to bring some of our best and brightest together to tackle the challenges of the 21st century. Manufacturing in Western Australia is doing so well, but who knows in Western Australia, and if you listen to people from over east, you'd think that manufacturing was dead in Australia, but it's far from that here in Western Australia. I don't know if you knew or any of your viewers know that West Australia has had 5% increase in manufacturing for the last 15 years, when the rest of the country it's only been less than 0.5%. So we export over $20 billion worth of manufacturing from Western Australia, including all the work we do for the oil and gas and mining industries. So the future is very bright, but with the transition in the mining industry and the oil and gas industry, we need to find new markets for our manufacturers, and that means we've got to innovate.